I'm calling this regular meeting of the Ledyard Town Council Finance Committee to order. At 5 p.m. present are myself, Councillor Ingalls, member of the committee, as well as Councillors Washington and McGrattan. And here comes the mayor. So the mayor is also present, along with Finance Director Marcia Hancock, Library Director Gail Bradbury, Chief of Police John Rich, and Administrative Assistant Roxanne Marr, and Scott Johnson from Parks and Rec. So with that, are there any citizens' comments? Hearing none. I have no informational items other than the budget, which we'll be discussing. And I would accept a motion for review and approval of the meeting minutes of the last finance meeting.
I move to approve the regular meeting minutes of Finance Committee from March 17th, 2021.
And Councillor Soms seconds. Any corrections, Andra?
I saw none.
I saw none. Well, actually provided, I think, so they were minor and excellent as usual. So ready to vote?
Yes, sir.
All in favor say aye.
Councillor Ingalls votes aye.
And Councillor Soms votes aye. Marcia, Finance Director's report.
Tomorrow we have our ratings call with Standard & Poor's. The mayor will be on tap again to do his regular amazing job at getting the point across at how well we're doing fiscally and operationally, as well as planning for new things ahead. So we look forward to that, and we look forward to what our rating will be when they decide on that, probably next week sometime. The mayor and I are mostly, well, the mayor's dealing with a lot of things, but I'm mostly dealing with the upcoming borrowing that we're going to be doing in May. We're doing another round of short-term borrowing on the schools. We're going to be bonding about $4 million for the schools. And we are also taking advantage of a refunding on our 2013 bonds, saving about around 300. We don't have final numbers yet or final rates, but we're looking at between 300 and 350,000 that we'll be saving over the life of the
Wow.
bonds. And that doesn't elongate the term of the bonds. So we have 10 years left. We will still have 10 years left after we refinance. So we're going to take advantage of that and with these low interest rates and get in on that.
Sorry, Marcia, did you say 350,000?
Yes. Over 10 years. Yeah.
Take it.
Yeah. And that's about all I have to report.
Okay, thank you.
Oh, there is one other
yep.
thing. We
Go ahead.
The retirement board requested that we go out to bid for actuaries. The town has never changed actuaries since we started the pension plan over 20 years ago. I think it's 27 years. We've always had Siegel actuaries. So we went out to bid, opened the bids last week, and we're in the process of putting together all the information and making a recommendation to the retirement board, and that will happen at the end of April. So we are looking to save some money there, but also just make sure that we have the right firm for what this town and this town's pension plan need.
Excellent. Thank you. That's
So
good
I
work.
have a question. Marcia, is the pension board not required to reconsider its actuary? It's not part of its operating guidelines? I don't know if I'm asking the question correctly, but I'm thinking like finance, we secure our auditor for a certain number of years and then we have to reconsider. So that something like that is not in place for the actuary?
That's a gray area, whether that it falls under the bidding requirement. Sorry, somebody just came to my door. It had just never been done. And it's a really, really big deal, or in the past, it's been a really big deal to change actuaries because they have all of our records, all of our employee salary records, and for beneficiaries, their addresses and all that. So that's why it's never been done in the past, because the transition to a new actuary would have been huge. But now it's much easier because everything can be done electronically and digitally. So we don't have to deal with paperwork. We can just do it much more efficiently. It was decided that it was time to do it. It does say in the charter that everything should go to bid except for legal services. So we're trying to bring that in line, bring everything in line with what the charter says.
Okay, thank you.
Good question. Thank you. So 3 more people have joined us since we started the meeting. So let the record show that Linda Davis has joined. And Liz Burdick is here. And someone else, and I don't see him now. Thought there was a third. But anyway, I'm going to move on. We have a full agenda tonight, and we have a second meeting at 6:30. Councilor Engel, myself, and Councilor Washington all have to be at that meeting. So I'm going to try and push things along as quickly as I can. And I hope everybody will support that effort. And if we can't get everything done, we're going to have to run a special meeting of the Finance Committee next Monday night. So there's our incentive to move things along quickly. So thank you in advance for that. I believe next on our agenda is old business discussion regarding the police staffing restructuring. So Chief Rich is with us, and Chief, if you would take it from here. We've talked about this before, and we wanted to give it some more time this evening.
Will do, sir. I am trying to, I'm not sure if you can, trying to bring that screen up. Okay, here we go. And I'm going to, slideshow. Again, I've brought this forward with the department's budget request this year for many different reasons, but not the least of which is the passage of Public Act 2001 in July 2020, which has placed additional administrative and operational requirements on all Connecticut police departments. That's commonly known as the Police Accountability Bill. It is a requirement for body-worn cameras, drug testing for recertification for officers, psychological examination every 5 years, and achievement of CALIA accreditation by 2025. CALIA accreditation, again, is a top-to-bottom certification of your department, and that's normally a 3-year process of self-assessment before you are examined by the powers to be with CALIA. So these additional responsibilities, coupled with identified operational concerns and supervision and span of control at our department, and lead me as the chief to request a minor restructuring of the command staff, which would involve 1 new position, which is captain, with applicable duties and responsibilities. And then the lieutenant position by previous MOU with the union would again become a union position, and I would realign those duties as I'll enumerate in a little bit. The proposed restructuring can be accomplished with no additional hiring. It involves 2 promotions to achieve the desired and equitable distribution of work, along with the supervisory responsibilities. So the benefits will include an equitable distribution of the workload and concentrated oversight and supervision of the patrol division, who is obviously the largest division in the department. subsequent management of liability and risk, opportunity for advancement for one more position and therefore improved employee engagement and retention, a division of administrative and operational responsibilities, which we don't have a clear split on right now, and the ability to direct and assign the myriad tasks associated with police accreditation and the maintenance of accredited status. So this is what we look like currently. I kind of a spread out with myself above the lieutenant, Michelle obviously as our assistant, and then 6 supervisors, which we're now down to 5 with the recent retirement of Sergeant Bailey, 8 dispatchers, and then each person's responsibilities. And that's how we're running right now. And we are definitely seeing some gaps in some places where we could do a better job with span of control and supervision. This is the proposed restructuring. Again, with myself and Michelle, with a split. If you see below me, executive officer, captain, and an operations officer, lieutenant. Captain would be in charge of administration and support services. That would include dispatch, detectives, and animal control. Operations would be the patrol commander. So again, down to 5 supervisors and the patrol officer staff. So depending on what shift they're working, these officers are supervising normally a minimum of 2, 3, sometimes 4 and 5 officers per shift without special assignments. So the span of control, I think, would be solid in this configuration. I would allow for better and more effective supervision. Administration versus operations, kind of the realignment of the duties. The captain would be in charge of accreditation management, which is a requirement of the accountability bill, maintaining the policies and procedures, training, evaluation, and needs assessment. Command the department in my absence, public information officer, which the lieutenant already does, internal affairs and professional standards, which he already does, physical plant, facility, and security, creating the work schedules for police, ACO, and dispatch, time and attendance and payroll, national incident-based reporting system reporting, which is a monthly arduous task for the lieutenant right now, freedom of information and records, research and planning, acting as a department quartermaster, which is just restocking our people with equipment and uniforms, and then evidence and property inspections. The lieutenant, again, would be the patrol commander, assigning duties and activities of patrol, maintaining the schedule daily versus constructing the schedule, monthly statistical reporting, case investigation management for patrol, managing special events like the parades and such, planning for those, department equipment and supplies, performance evaluations in the patrol division, line and staff inspections in the patrol division, selection, hiring, and training in the patrol division, body and in-car video evidence, which we will now need body-worn evidence management coming up, vehicle fleet and equipment, department weapons inventory and maintenance, and certain department grants, which would be associated with the patrol division. The budgetary impact, yet to be determined, but it's minimal based on, I think, what we can achieve with this. So the captain's is not a line item right now. There's no line item for captain. I just put a loose number on that as $100,000 negotiable, which would be a $5,000 raise from the current lieutenant's position, and that's a promotion to a new position. Lieutenant's salary, again, would go back to the union. It's currently $91,300. It would go to $91,360 based on the contractual requirement of sergeant, first step sergeant plus 10%, which is $66.42 above the top sergeant salary. And that would require promoting one sergeant to lieutenant. And then public safety employees would be reduced, proposed right now to be $1,647,509. That would go down to $1,562,791 by removing one sergeant's salary from the line item. And so basically, we would basically be looking at a potential budgetary impact of around $11,000, $11,600. Again, the captain's a new position, non-union, with an individual employment agreement. The lieutenant by MOU would be returned to the position. That MOU was signed in 2015 before the department went independent. The lieutenant position would then be filled from the available sergeants who are eligible with the contractual selection process, which is spelled out in the contract. Public safety employees salary line would have a reduction of 1 sergeant's salary, and the job descriptions are already sent to human resources, and they are proposed here for your purview afterwards, after the meeting, for purposes of time. Basically the same division that I described in the presentation, and those, I believe, comply with the requirements of the administrative committee, as have other job descriptions that we've modified since I've been chief. And with that, I'll take any questions.
Thank you, Chief. Questions? Linda, did you hold your hand up?
Yes.
Yeah, go.
Is there a
please.
car involved with the new position?
Well, the XO already has a car assigned to him, so I don't anticipate another car involved in the position, to the lieutenant's position, which would be, again, back into the union, and it would be a union position. So currently, right now, it's the chief, the lieutenant, and the singular detective that have take-home vehicles.
Okay, and then the other question, and only because I had a little difficulty seeing the screen. How does this change the number of officers on the road?
Yeah, it would not. Basically, it's just a realignment in the supervisory staff. So you would promote 1 sergeant to lieutenant, and the only lieutenant theoretically to captain, and that it would not change the number of officers on the road at all. This is being done within the available resources of the department, and it's just a restructuring and a realignment of duties based on some of the things I've seen as vulnerabilities and the demands coming up with the police accountability bill, which are numerous.
Thank you, Chief.
Yeah, yes, sir.
Mike,
Council.
Just Chief, just as a quick review, and I think you may have said this, but from what I can tell, is the intent to do a separation of heavy administrative and heavy field, so that there's a really good clear separation?
Yes, sir. Exactly. That's one thing that we lack right now, and there's a lot of bouncing back and forth, and a lot of just kind of unclear. Did someone cover this? Did you cover this? Did I cover that? Kind of thing. And this I think would streamline things a little bit as it relates to responsibilities.
It makes sense looking at it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
other questions? Comments? Mayor.
So just to clarify once more, Chief, the unmarked administrative vehicles would be chief, captain, and detective at that point, right? So lieutenant would not have a take-home vehicle?
I had not planned for that, Mayor, at all. I just,
Okay.
again, it remains part of the supervisory staff. And even as it relates to scheduling, obviously would be the senior officer there.
Okay.
I think Councilor Ingalls had a question.
I do.
I'm
It's
sorry,
it's
Andrea.
really, it's more the devil's advocate question, which is, you know, I wish I knew what specific questions to ask to kind of tease out what happens if we deny this request.
I think what happens is when we're required to manage body worn video, which is coming right up in the future, that's in the capital improvement budget for this particular year, coming up for July, and achieve accreditation. We will have we're going to have an extreme amount of difficulty, and I think the quality of life for the people that are going to be associated with that is going to be greatly diminished based on their work responsibilities. I think that's probably the best thing I can do. You know, I think as in managing the department is an equitable distribution of work, and we're about to get another pile thrown on top of us, courtesy of the Connecticut General Assembly. And I think we need to make plans and provisions to manage that.
Thank you.
Anyone else? Okay, Chief, I have one question. Do we have any contractual responsibility for a minimum number of sergeants?
No. The contract basically under it delineates the selection process for a position of rank or detective. And it gives management rights. It says establishing standards of productivity, determining objectives of the department, determining methods and means of fulfilling the objectives, including selecting, increasing, decreasing staff through hiring, promotion, assignment, transfer, discharge, and layoff. I think I'm well within my rights as the manager of the department to make this change, and it's in alignment with the contractual language.
Good, thank you. So I'm going to offer a comment. I had a long talk with the chief, 2 calls yesterday. I've been reluctant to approve this request. It's not the first time it's come forward. I get it. I realize all the reasons, but I've still been reluctant. However, the chief made something clear to me yesterday in a conversation that I can relate to, and that is, speaking in my own experience, when you have an organization with line operations and staff support / strategic work, and you split those responsibilities across one person, which is what we're doing now for both the chief and the lieutenant, something slips. Guess what slips? The strategic work. Because the line operation stuff has to happen. The chief has convinced me that line operations would improve because you would have single accountability for the line, for patrol. And I think that's a good thing in an organization. I'm concerned by the requirements of CALIA. I'm concerned, and we've been long concerned about, and this is one of the reasons we kind of deep six the body-worn cameras, because we know there's a lot of administration that goes with that. There already is with the vehicle cameras. So I was reluctant, but I am going to support this. I think it's the right thing to do. I think the chief has done an admirable job of finding a way to do it at minimal cost. And if there was a year to do it, this is the year. This CALIA thing, I think, is going to be bigger than anyone realizes. And it is an answer to all the people that complain about police work and complain about injustices. I think it is a way to ensure that we're not just talking the talk, but we're actually making sure that we do the job right. So I'm in favor of it, and I'll stop there. Other comments, questions?
We're not
Sandra?
voting on this tonight, correct?
No, it's not a vote, but we do have to put money in the budget. So we'll bring it as discussion when we talk about the budget. But no, there's no motion on this tonight.
Mhm. Okay,
Okay,
Thank you all.
thank you, chief.
yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you,
And
Chief.
we appreciate your time and all the energy
Thank you.
that you put into this. With that, the next item on the agenda is discussion regarding the multi-use field and track enhancements, specifically the new scoreboard and the replacement of the fence. So this is discussion at this point, and I would open the floor to comments or questions. And
So-
I'll get just a little summary, maybe that'll help. We heard a presentation last week and prior to last week, or whenever it was, from the PMBC. We have approximately $100,000 left over from the track and field project. The proposal before us is to invest in a new multi-sport scoreboard, which will support the multi-sport field, and also replace the decades-old fence around the athletic facilities behind the high school. Both projects, I don't think anyone questions the enhancement or the benefit of those enhancements. But the request is to spend $100,000 on those two projects.
Right.
One or both. Andra, did you have thoughts?
You know, I've been thinking about this. I've been thinking about it a lot. And struggling with it because of course I think we all would like to see the multi-use scoreboard go in. And of course, I think we all agree that fence has seen better days. But to the process question, and Bill, you already brought this up, it's not currently in their capital plan. So, which to me begs the question, and I think about this in my own household, we keep a running list of priorities. So when money is there, we save up for certain things, we know what's next. So if you drop extra money in my lap, I know where I'm putting it, right? That's the whole point of the capital plan. So I'm not, even though I would love to see both of these projects complete, I'm not a fan of dropping surplus money on it. I think there are probably other things if we handed them $100 grand and said, what's your most important thing right now? I doubt it's this.
Yeah.
So.
And you've stated exactly my feelings as I stated twice before past meetings. It's not in the plan. And new piece of information, the schools are going to be receiving ARA money separate from the town. And I don't know what their restrictions are, but the schools are going to receive a lot of money. And there is nothing time sensitive about the fence. There's nothing time sensitive about the scoreboard, except it can't be used for other sports. And my thought is the schools can, or the Board of Ed can put those two projects in their capital plan along with everything else. And we have some very serious things that have to be done, specifically two roofs. We've been talking about two roofs for as long as I've been on the council, knowing they're coming due. So my inclination would be not to approve the expenditure. Let the, as you said, Andra, let the Board of Ed put the two items in their capital plan and we'll sort it out along with everything else. And they may have extra money to spend anyway. Further, I talked to Marcia about the what happens to that money if we don't spend it. It was appropriated to the Board of Ed by the town council, but it can go into the Board of Ed's capital fund at the SIP, and it can be used at any time in the future, according to the process that you so rightly described, Andrea. So we don't have to spend the money, and there are other things we can use it for. So those are my thoughts. Other counselors, thoughts, comments? Mike?
First, I'll do the fence. I'm right with you, Bill. It's a fence. If we replacing the fence is, if it's not in the capital budget, why bother? The fence, it may not be the prettiest fence, but it's functional. It does what it needs to do. There's other places to spend the money. As relative to the scoreboard, I'm a little biased. I'd love to see a new scoreboard because my kid plays soccer, but the reality is there's ways to work around it. We've got other things that it's more important to keeping water out of buildings than having a scoreboard that's nice and pretty. So I don't see why we would want to go personally and expend this money at this point when there's other things on the horizon, exactly as you two counselors said, that are really more of a pressing nature. And the board has the ability to put it into their capital budget, project fund. So if it's not there now, it can't be that high on their their wish list of what needs to be done. So until it gets there, I'm like, don't do anything with either one of those items. That's all I'm saying.
Thank you, Councilor Washington. Anyone else? Okay, I'm going to make one last pitch to paint that fence. I know it sounds a little crazy, but it is possible to take a sheet of plywood and a spray gun and paint that fence black, and no one will know that it's not a new fence. It'll be a little crooked, but I have my own concerns about the quality of the materials going into a new fence. And, you know, kids climb fences and they jump over them and they're real good at it. And that's why it's bent now. And I'm worried about how fast it'll get bent again. So in the meantime, I think it could be painted, and I'll stop there. So, okay, let's move on. Is there any other old business? Seeing none, is there a motion to amend the agenda under new business? Seeing none, I will entertain a motion for the first item.
I make a motion to adopt a proposed amended municipal certification of resolution for a small town economic assistance program, STEEP 2020, Ledyard Town Community Green Project, located at 728 Colonel Ledyard Highway, Ledyard, Connecticut, as contained in the draft dated March 29, 2021. In addition, authorize a local match in the amount of $59,895 provided by in-kind service and/or funds from the Public Works Department.
Second. So I'm just going to acknowledge that I think I may be a little out of order. I'm not sure if this agenda is matching the agenda we're following, but anyway, I'll just say that and we'll figure it out later.
Oh.
Liz Burdick is with us. Liz, would you like to say anything about this?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chairman. So if you recall, the Finance Committee and the Town Council made a motion for us to apply for the Small Town Economic Assistance Program grant funding for the town green improvements last year, and we did receive that grant. In doing the final paperwork with DECD, who are the ones that are managing our funds for the state of Connecticut, it came to their attention that our resolution was for $128,205, when in fact the STEEP grant is $128,154. So the state is requiring us to amend that resolution so that the amounts match. So it looks like we were off by $48. And even though the amount is less than what the town council authorized for this grant, the paperwork is such that they have asked us to ask the council to revise that resolution for $128,154. Also, part of that, the resolution was that we get final authorization for the town match. The town match remains the same as it did at that time, which is $59,895. Of that $59,895, $17,095.40 was the cost estimate contingency. So it may or may not be required if we can get everything within budget. And the other funds come either from Department of Public Works budget, and I believe, and Mayor Allen can probably back me up on this, we have, according to Steve Maslin, about $9,000 left in a town green fund, and we can use funds from that as well towards the town match. So that's what I'm here to request tonight, that you revise the resolution to $128,154, which is the state funded portion of the grant, and to authorize the town portion at $59,895.
Thank you, Liz. Comments or questions? Ready to vote?
I guess I'm a little confused by the wording. 59, no, never mind. So wait, is Public Works providing in kind?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. And that was the 19.
So the total project amount was $188,049. Of that $188,049, the town match is $59,895. Of that amount, $17,000 is when we do the cost estimate for the improvements, we have to add in a 10% contingency for cost increases. That was part of the town's match. The rest of the town match comes from either in-kind services from the Public Works Department and or funding coming from the, there's some money in the open space, the town green fund that's left. We'd like to utilize that. The rest will come from DPW budget.
Okay,
So it's a combination of in-kind services and funding
okay,
from those two
And- and
sources.
And this is something we approved back in August. It's
Right,
just a
right.
change in the
I
dollar
was
amount,
just a
so.
little confused by the combination of in-kind, and it's fine.
I was too. I had it mixed up
Yeah.
with another project, so.
I apologize. It gets a little, I have all the breakdowns, but you wanted to keep the meeting going quick, so I'm giving you rounded numbers.
I'm good.
Okay,
Okay, thank you. All in favor, please say aye.
Counselor Ingalls votes aye.
Counselor Psalms votes aye, and the motion passes.
thank you.
Next item, please. And by the way, we are following the right order. My agenda on iCompass is a little different, but we're fine. So, thank you.
Okay. I make a motion to approve transfer of $14,525 from account 210-90305-58915 CNR Undesignated to account 210-10103-54500 Historic District Building Maintenance to cover the cost of lead abatement in the Lester House.
Second. So this item came up recently. The Historic District Commission has been wrestling with it for a while. This is the resolution, and the mayor has been, he's stepped in with his resources and has provided a huge amount of help to the Historic District because they were trying to do this by themselves. And basically, we've got bids from one or two lead abatement companies. There are few of them out there. This is under the $15,000 required for 3 bids, but we do have quotes, and we need to move quickly because the reason this came up is we have a family living in that house. And I'll leave it at that and let the mayor add his comments.
All right, so we contacted 18 different painting companies. Only 2 had the EPA lead paint abatement certifications that would even come forward to make bids. The first bid was over $20,000. We were lucky enough, we had a reference to another historic district that had a similar experience to ours. They referred this painting company, Abatement Plus LLC. They came out and their number was under the $15,000 threshold. The total project cost is going to exceed that number because we also have to remove all the contents of the caretaker's residence. So all that stuff is either going to have to go into like a storage container, like a shipping type container, a combination of shipping container in the barn or whatever. We also have to have alternative housing arrangements for the 6 occupants. And the historic district is working on a proposal because the occupants also have essentially farm animals there. We can't exactly put them up in a hotel with their 12 chickens and 6 rabbits and 2 goats and what have you. So we're looking at getting a RV on site that would house the occupants. So the added cost that we're going to have is for storage of the occupants' personal effects, an RV for, we hope, not more than a month, but we need to be prepared for 2 just in case. And then the last, well, not the last cost, but another one will be the lead paint abatement that we're looking to do is not abating the lead paint that is on the floors in the living room. The floors are painted with lead-based paint too. But Ledgelight has said that if we do wall-to-wall carpet over that lead paint, that it is satisfactory. So we felt that that was probably a cost-effective measure to just cover that. And then the last expense that we think we're going to have in that is having, when it's all said and done, having either the RV and or the caretaker's residence professionally cleaned after the work is done for them to go back in. So what we're talking about right now is we feel this is important. It's important to move ahead. We would have loved to have had the opportunity to have to seek and pursue grants, but we're at the point now where we need to move on it because we have some younger occupants in the residence, and you know, we kind of chased down where the lead paint or where the lead came from. Ultimately, was the paint, and we have to be prepared to address it as swiftly as possible.
Thank you, Mayor. Appreciate your leadership on this.
Thank you.
Questions? Comments? No? Ready to vote?
I am.
All in favor, please say aye.
Counselor Ingalls votes aye.
As does Counselor Psalms, and the motion passes. Thank you very much. Next item.
I make a motion to approve resolution authorizing the issuance of not exceeding, are we missing a word there? Not resolution authorizing the issuance of not exceeding $3,100,000 refunding bonds for payment in whole or in part of the outstanding principal of and interest and any call premium on the town of Ledyard's $4,705,000 general obligation bonds issue of 2013 and costs related thereto. Holy smokes.
I'm just glad it's not 4.7 billion.
Yeah. Second, Counselor Psalms. Thank you, Counselor Ingalls. So I like this because I heard at the beginning of this meeting, this is going to save the town $350,000 in interest payments, and we're going to end up paying the bonds off on schedule. It doesn't change the payout schedule.
Mhm.
Anything to add, Marcia? Anyone?
I would just add that this is, having a resolution from the town council is required for any refunding. And this is time sensitive because we need to have it approved by the town council before we sell bonds and notes on April 27th. April
Thank you.
17th, sorry.
Thank you. Other questions, comments?
No, it is.
All in favor, please. All in favor, please say aye.
Counselor Ingalls votes aye.
Counselor Psalms does too. Thank you very much. Next item.
Discussion and possible action regarding the American Recovery Act, ARA fund scheduled to
Thank
be,
you.
yeah, it's not a motion.
So we have $1.4 million coming our way from the ARA, the town does. It has to be spent on, according to certain requirements. I would love to spend it on a bridge, but bridge is not one of the categories that we can spend it on. I'd also like to talk about putting a great big water main across Lantern Hill Road, called a water main, and maybe it looks like a bridge, but it's a water main, but I don't think we can do that either. So the other thing we can do, and I'm going to open this up to other suggestions too, but we do have a sewer project in the works, and we can spend it on that. So there are many other things we could do, but I'm going to stop it there and turn it over to the mayor for his comments.
All right, so yeah, we're looking at 1,443,000. However, there will be more. So Connecticut is one of two states that doesn't have county government, and so Connecticut and whatever the other state is, so that they are not adversely impacted by the lack of county government, what they have decided to do is they are putting $51 million additional money into New London County. So the $51 million is then divided by the population of New London County, which is divided by the population of the town of Ledyard. And with that, we are expecting an additional approximately $3 million. So we will then have $4,443,000 on the general government side. The Board of Education, I believe, is already seeing 2.9 million coming to them. So, and I was on a CCM meeting yesterday morning because a number of people have, just like you, Bill, have expressed concern about how tight the limitations are for the use of this money. And others like you, and I agree with you completely, I would love to put a sewer line under that bridge and say it's a sewer extension. We had to replace the bridge over its head when we did the sewer line, but I would love to see a bridge done with some of this money, but at the same time, my feeling is that a very long-term solution that would also be economic assistance, that would also be economic development, would be a sewer line, either running to the high school or running to an alternative. And there is a sewer study that is going to be started very shortly, which is going to look at either doing a package treatment facility in or around Ledyard Center, or further north on Route 117, or taking it to the high school. So our other options were hazard pay for municipal workers, which I can't support because we've all worked through it. Assistance to residents and businesses that were directly affected by COVID-19. And I didn't bring the printout with me, but the third option escapes me right now. But it is pretty limited in scope. So I felt like if we could do a sewer project in Ledyard Center, that could have long-standing positive reverberations for all of the development of Ledyard Center.
Agreed. Thank you, Mayor. We do not have to make any decision on this anytime soon. We're going to receive the money soon, but we can put it in the general fund and let it sit there until we have solidified some of these ideas and decided what we want to do with it. So
right. First payments due on or about July 1st. Second payment a year after that. We don't know about the $3 million of the county money offset, but we have until December 31st of 2024 to spend the money or return it.
Yep. Okay, so I'm going to move on to the budget, which is our major item for the evening. And we have a couple of potential changes to it, as well as what to do with the surplus from the track and field project. So I won't make a motion just yet. I'd like Finance Director Hancock to talk about the two issues. Scott Johnson has been sitting here patiently because I know that he has a budget request. And so let's start with the two items that we need to talk about, Marcia, the Parks and Rec as well as the police department. I'm sorry?
You were muted, but you're back.
Oh, all that talking, I was muted?
No, part of it, only part of it. We're
Okay.
good.
All right. So now Marcia's muted.
Okay, I'm here. The two items that we have that are not in the budget yet are Scott's going to talk about an increase of $2,126. And my understanding of the police, the increase in the police department, if the restructuring is approved, would be 13,000. Is that right, Chief?
Marcia, I have it at 11,660.
11,660. Okay. The increase for Parks and Rec is porta potties. Scott, do you want to address that briefly?
Yeah, so the porta potty company that we have used for multiple years was bought out by another company. And we recently got our first bill of this year, and the price went from $45 a unit to $61.10 a unit. Was trying to talk them into giving us the old deal, but they want a signed contract. I actually got a hold of Don, the previous director, and they didn't have a signed contract. for that deal at the time. I think it was the state bid price. And actually the 6110 is not a bad price because I looked at the state bid price. I believe it's $88 a unit. We received multiple quotes from other companies and it was much higher, upwards of about $100. I talked to the mayor about it too. We think it might be smart to go to bid next year. It might not be great to go out right now. I believe the hike in price is also due to COVID. We're not getting charged it with the current companies, but a lot of the other companies had sanitation fees and things like that that might not typically be associated when we're not in the middle of a pandemic. Because most of the prices we received were well over $100, and a lot of companies actually didn't even have units available. I think due to the increase of people doing things outdoors, there's more of a demand for the porta potty units at this time.
Thank you, Scott. I see that the library director, Gail Bradbury, is here as well. So just a question, Marcia, we had talked during the finance meetings about covering the extra money required for the increase in the minimum wage. And I don't have the budget open. I've got too much open now. Do you have the finance number that we discussed, the extra $1,000 in the budget?
I have, yes. For the part-time wages line, we added, at the last meeting, you recommended that we add 1,000. So that's
Correct.
48,806 right now.
Okay, thank you. Okay. And then the last item is the chief's 11,006. So Councilor Ingalls, I think you and I need to make a recommendation on Parks and Rec as well as the chief's recommendation. So I'm in favor of both and adjusting the budget for those two items only.
Adjusting the budget for the change.
So increasing the budget by 11,006 and change for the police department restructuring. We're not voting to do it. We're just increasing the budget to put the salary dollars there, and increasing Parks and Rec budget by the $2,100 or so for the increase in cost of the porta potties. I don't see a way around that.
Right. Yeah, we can make the recommendation. I still, I think the thing that with the police, and Chief Rich, I admire you. This is nothing to do with the job you're doing at all. I wish I knew, I really like the devil's advocate argument. I need to hear the argument against. So I guess like you, Bill, I still feel reluctant, although the last time that this came up, we were not dealing with the issues that we've dealt with for the last, 10 months. Sir, I guess I still just feel reluctant.
Well, I think we have a week to think about it and discuss it more, but to put it before the full council, you and I would both have to vote for it. And then, we could, both of us could change our vote when it came to the full council.
Right.
Hey,
But
Bill.
for purposes of discussion. Yeah.
Oh, Tom's here.
Yeah.
Oh, hey, Tom.
Yeah, I joined late. Forgive me. I've been thinking a lot about the whole police thing. And I am not fully convinced at this point that we need to do this.
Okay, so we just had a presentation by the chief and we had discussion
Yeah,
at the
yeah,
beginning of the meeting. So
I'm
So
just not
here's-
100% on this.
I think I would vote it out of committee and bring it to the full council. I would love to hear a more robust discussion.
Yes,
Okay,
So if that's what we need to do at this point, I'm all for that.
okay, thank you. The last adjustment would be, I think it's an adjustment. It would be the capital from the surplus from the track and field project to move that into the Board of Ed's capital fund. The 104,000 for the, go ahead, Marcia.
104,000.
And it goes into the Board of Ed's capital fund, because I thought we had talked about whether or not it reverts to, I asked this question
Yeah,
when we
right.
talked about it, and I thought it reverted to the town.
Marcia, what,
I
What are your
think
thoughts?
because you're deciding on essentially on the capital budget tonight, what I think makes sense is to take 104,000 out of the taxes line. And then I'm getting down to the school capital lines. We have yeah, we don't have anything allocated from taxes for the board items. They're transferring
Right.
from other funds from their own capital account lines to pay for 3 items, or that's what has been designated so far. 3, 4, 5, 6, actually 7 lines. So that's coming out of their reserve account. So in that case, it probably should go back to the town. And then you can either use that money to replace capital items in the rest of the capital plan on the town side, rather than using taxpayer money.
So I thought we appropriated these funds for the project.
You
So
did.
does that, so since we appropriated, does that mean they have to go to the school, or can we take them back?
You can take them back because you took it out of fund balance.
Okay, all right, okay. So can we put this 104,000 back in the town fund balance?
Yes.
Okay. I'd like to do that.
I'm just going to check and make sure of the amount that is still left in that account. If you'll
Okay.
bear with me, or you can go
Okay.
ahead and I'll let you know. Yes, there's, well, they still have 109,000 encumbered. So I don't know if there are construction invoices still coming in. We probably have to check with them on that. But with the amount still encumbered and the amount not encumbered that's still available, it's about 168,000. So how
Okay,
about,
so-
if it's going to go into fund balance, could I suggest that I can check with them, make sure that everything else is paid for at this point, and then come forward at the next council meeting to have you appropriate that money back to fund balance?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep. Yep. And if we could end up with that in the undesignated fund, remember we depleted the undesignated, or didn't completely, but we took a lot of money out of undesignated to do the project. So
Yep.
I think it would be right for it to go back there. So that for purposes of tonight, that doesn't change the budget, correct?
Correct.
Okay. So,
With the changes you made tonight,
yep,
the mill rate decreased by tenth of a point.
how did that happen?
Well, I put
Because
the
we-
11.6 in
Yep,
and the 2,000. So we must have been
Yep.
right on the edge of,
Yeah,
oh, I see, yeah, so the mill rate decreased by 1/10 of a mil. Okay, I get it.
Bill,
Yeah, question.
because I'm like a dog with a bone on certain things. Where are we with the fax machines? Because I will not support, if it goes to the council with the fax machines in there, I'll make a motion to remove them.
Thank you, Linda. Yeah. We had an email on what we thought the fax machines would save. I don't have that in front of me. I can go
you're
look
talking
for it
about
unless.
Regina's email?
Yeah, yeah.
What Regina said was she freed up $2,000 in one account that you had asked about. But she said that she doesn't have hard numbers yet on what the savings for the fax machines would be, that she's still trying to get that information.
Okay, so I'm going to look at the email. I thought she had some information. What I'm inclined to do is just reduce by some dollar amount. So yeah, she cut 2,000. Did you take that 2,000 that you just mentioned out,
Yes,
Marcia? Okay.
that was removed from line the repairs and maintenance line was reduced from 6,916 to 4,916.
Okay.
So my
So the-
question, I'm sorry, Bill, my question is this going to eliminate fax machines? Or is this just going to reduce the budget? Is the
So there-
reduction of $2,000 going to eliminate some fax machines?
No,
Or-
no, it's two separate issues. So Regina told us we could take 2,000 out of her budget for emergency equipment repair. And that's separate from what we can save on the faxes. There are 4 fax machines that we could eliminate. They're getting bids. Do you know off the top of your head what fax machines cost us, Marcia?
I don't.
And there's more than 4. She had wanted to keep one landline for redundancy in case the network went down for eFax. I don't know if that's needed or not.
No.
I don't know if we need fax redundancy. We may
No.
need redundancy in other things, but probably not in fax.
No,
And
you
I
can
can't
take a
think
fax
of any-
machine and you can
Yeah.
plug it into another analog line. It'll work fine.
Right, so that the 4 could probably grow to an elimination of 6 fax machines. And as you know, I had suggested eFax or something like that. There was a
Right.
different, and I can't remember the name, but there was a different product that she had brought to me. I was a little concerned about the product because the product required a plug-in, some sort of widget that also cost $20 or $30 a month per fax machine. And I felt like that's not really completely doing what we want to do.
Yep.
So I'm kind of more in favor of eFax myself, and I know that they are HIPAA compliant, and I know that they are secure.
Yep, exactly. Multi-function fax machines rent for an average of $120. I assume that's, well, I don't know what that is. Give me another minute here. I can't see a fax machine renting for $120 a month. They're not that expensive. Let's do this, Marcia. Why don't we take $1,000 out of the budget? And we can adjust it when we have a better idea next week.
Yes, and I'll get
So-
I'm looking at the detail in that account line. It looks like last year it was, there's one analog phone line that we have to have in town hall. And she's
Mhm.
got that combined with the fax. Last year it was, we were paying over $300 a month for
the
that
line?
fee.
For the line or the
For-
fax?
It looks like for the various lines, yes.
Okay,
And plus
300 a
the
month.
analog. 300, yeah. But then this year I don't see anything in that line, that account line. So I'm gonna have to find out where she's been paying it from this year.
so,
Yeah,
so
like-
an analog line is probably at least $10 a month times 4 times 12. So that's 4,800.
And you're back to 1.25.
Okay, thank you. What do you have for general government budget? Expense.
26,624,396.
Putting my commas in. And Board of Ed?
33,671,969.
And total?
60,296,365.
Okay, let me read them back. Total budget, 60,296,365. General government's 26,624,396. Board of Ed, 33,671,969.
Yes.
Okay. So I move to recommend the town council adopt a proposed fiscal year 2021-22 budget in the amount of $60,296,365, comprised of a general government budget of $26,624,396 and a Board of Education budget of $33,671,969. Is there a second?
Counselor Ingalls seconds.
Thank you, Andra.
Sorry about that.
Final comments? All in favor, please say aye.
Counselor Ingalls votes aye.
Tom, you're mute. Counselor Psalms votes aye, and the motion passes. And next item, please.
Where are we? We're on the tax refund.
I
Yeah.
think so.
Well, I make a motion to recommend the council approve one tax refund in the amount of $3,161.47 that exceeds $2,400 in accordance with tax collector department procedures.
Counselor Psalms seconds. And I have not read the materials on this, so I'm going to take a quick look at it.
It's a double payment.
Yep. And we have signatures and reason. Okay. Thank you. Okay, comments, questions?
None.
Okay, ready to vote?
Yes.
Yes.
All in favor, please say aye.
Counselor Ingalls votes aye.
Counselor Malone votes aye.
And Counselor Psalms votes aye, and the motion passes. Last item, I believe, is the water budget.
I make a motion to adopt a proposed fiscal year 2021-2022 water operations budget in the amount of $1,459,524.97.
Counselor Psalms
Second.
seconds. Thank you, Tom. This budget has been reviewed by the Finance Committee in the past. I also attended the WPCA's budget meeting, and the Assistant Finance Director also attended the Finance Committee's meeting. And I think this is a responsible budget. It was well done this year. We have a lot more information than we've had in the past. Every year it gets a little bit better. So I'm in favor of moving this forward to the council.
Yes.
Mhm.
Okay, any questions?
No.
And we don't vote on the sewer budget because by state statute, but we do have it in the records just as information. So all in favor, please say aye.
Counselor Ingalls votes aye.
Counselor Psalms votes aye. Counselor Malone?
Muted, Tom.
Okay, we have two, so I am going to say that this motion passes. It's the last item on our agenda. Thank you, everyone. We finished at 6:13. We're adjourned, and now we can go on to our next meeting. Thank you all.
See you in
See you
15
very soon.
Thank you.